Good morning.
Good morning. Oh,
what are you doing?
I'm jumping the gun.
Stop that.
We're in holiday mode. Woohoo!
Holiday mode. Look at your shirt too. You got.
Well, I know. I dressed up just for you, Megs, because I know you're supposed to be on holidays, but yet you still joined us.
I'm on holidays. I'm supposed to be at our cottage, but not our cottage, my best friend's cottage, which they ridiculously let me stay at for 2 weeks every year by myself. I don't understand that. I don't know what I did, but the cottage is being reconstructed, so I can't go. So I have been here at home pretending I was at the cottage.
A staycation.
So sometimes I sleep in the living room of the cottage because the cottage had windows across the front, and it's still going to do it. And I would sleep there on a fold-out sofa. And I would crawl in bed right at sunset and watch the sunset and then watch the stars and stuff come up. It was just gorgeous. No. So I tried to do that the other night here. It didn't work quite as well.
No, not quite as well. Except you've got the crick in your back from sleeping on the sofa,
and the spousal unit and the children coming through and saying, "Hey, Mom, what are you doing in bed? It's like 2:00 in the afternoon." No, it wasn't that early, but okay. So I tried. And I tried turning on Google Home. I told it to play waves.
Oh,
because the cottage is right on the water, so you can hear the waves of the lake.
Yeah, the sound of waves.
It was like tsunami waves, and I was like, nope, that's not relaxing at all. Yeah. Good morning, Lisa Gervais.
Yay,
certainly
Lisa.
Not doing cottage time here in downtown Ottawa. Janine is here. Hey, Christine Miller and Susie Carta. Hope you don't get storms today in Minnesota. Chris Ferriello, Susan Anderson. Good morning. Let's see. Betsy Doe. She's in Chicago. Go see Julie. Julie's just right over there from Chicago.
Julie's not here though on the
Fiscus. No, not your Julie. No,
not my Julie.
No, but you could if you cross the border. Let's see. Karen Stewart's here. Hey, K Night. Hot and muggy in Virginia Beach. I can't wait to reveal who I'm closest to. We can't either. Or are we scared?
Well, it's probably the Godfather reference is my guess.
Is he very close to somebody in the Godfather group?
No, could be.
I got to turn my volume up here. All right. John Tyner's here.
Yay.
Denise Jarrett is here. Did I say John Tyner? Hey, John Tyner. I am in Wexford.
Oh, my Douglas is from County Wexford.
You better be getting ready to get your pen and pencil out. He's going to want you to go do some research.
Yeah.
Are the research places open on Saturday?
I don't know.
And Tommy Buck from Southwest Louisiana. Southwest.
Well, considering how warm it's been up here, I wonder, it must be really hot in Louisiana, is my guess.
Oh yeah, it's been hot. Yeah. Those the people down in the States are just melting.
Oh yeah.
It hadn't gotten that hot while I was down there. It was pretty nice. So
good. Yeah.
It's a beautiful Saturday morning.
It is. It's wonderful.
Craig has been geeking out on the Godfather connections.
Yes, I got distracted. Megs had to send me a private message to say, "Are you coming?" It was like what? I just said 9:52.
Because I threatened not to be here all day.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I got lost down a rabbit hole.
I was I was supposed to be not capable of connecting today, which I won't mention it again. I'm supposed to be at the cottage. Did you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Then I'd be all by myself.
We have some great answers to the question of the week, which was, do you have any aviators in your tree? And I was thinking, wow, I bet we don't have a lot of people answer this. But yes, we have 80 answers, 4 pages of answers, and some really, 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 really cool ones. Like the very first one, my dad was in the Army Air Corps during World War II, pilot, gunner, mechanic. The skills he learned, he applied to an old tractor on the farm. Did he put wings on the tractor?
Wow.
He was a construction worker and farmer, but could draw and make them just about anything you could imagine. So anonymous read. And then we've had a lot of really cool comments. And the coolest one we're going to get to in just a second.
Okay.
Alexis Nelson. I love Alexis. Yeah. Where is Alexis anyway?
Yeah.
Really? Get in here, girl. Let's see. Robin Lozier's dad went for flying lessons back in the 70s and got his pilot's license, but never did anything with it because he couldn't afford to buy or own a plane. It's expensive. Air fuel is expensive, and it's expensive. My uncle was a pilot. My cousin is a pilot. My cousin's son, he's like 16 or 17. He just did all these flights around the U.S. in a specific kind of plane. And yeah, it's crazy. So there's flying in my family like crazy. I remember flying with my uncle.
Oh.
And he let me fly his plane on many occasions, which was fun. I even took off and landed his plane like as a little kid.
No way.
Oh yeah, way. But the best part is why I stopped flying with him. Okay. He took me to go with him for a fly on a Saturday morning, and he was flying somebody to take photographs before we had drones and satellites that were really useful for the public. You would have to take a camera up in a plane, actually fly over the site and take pictures to get aerial photographs.
Right. Yeah.
And so he did that often with people, especially real estate people or whatever. And so he took me up flying on one of those excursions that he did. And I got so sick because he would tip the plane. And
so the photographer can get a good shot
like this while the guy was like leaning against the door taking pictures. And then he would flip over and he would fly the other way. And that was my last time flying with my uncle.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no.
Well, I remember we got some nice aerial shots of the farm. Like I grew up on a farm, right?
Yeah.
So we have a nice wall picture of someone taking a shot of the farm, so you can see the house and the barns and everything, and the land.
Well, and you're still right there close to the farm.
I am.
Right?
Yeah.
Was your property that you're on now a part of that aerial photograph?
It was part of the farmland, but it was across. It probably wasn't in the shot. I'm gonna have to look because I actually have one of those photos in our basement, so I have to look afterwards.
I'm looking at the chats over here, and Kay says that she had an uncle who opened his airport in the 1930s.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Wow.
Now, I had a cousin who was married to a guy who had a runway as a part of his property because he flew. It was a grass runway. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
I never flew with him. I don't think I would fly with him.
Yeah.
All right. So, and this is cool. My husband, here we go. Alexis Nelson, you always post one. My husband, Captain Mike Nelson, was an Air Force pilot during Vietnam. He flew C-141s and a combat rescue helicopter out of Phan Rang, Vietnam. I would not want to be a rescue helicopter in Vietnam. My butt would be just riddled with bullets, I think. You know?
Yeah.
That's a scary job.
Oh, man.
So there's Alexis's husband in his flight suit, 1967. Pretty cute guy. But there's more from Alexis. Come on down here. My uncle was a pilot and navigator, and that's from Jeanette O'Hagan. World War II, initially trained others to fly, was sent to the Mediterranean to fly bombers over Italy and Greece. 2/3 of his squadron had been lost, though he survived. So lots of crazy stories. TJ Fahey, he's got an aviation pioneer in his tree. In his pilot license, 1911. Okay. Okay. All right. So he's got a second post, and we're going to go to that. So I'm going to go to that after this.
Okay.
Let's see. A failed aviator, 1943, my father, then an Ordnance Corps second lieutenant, was accepted into the Army Air Corps pilot training program. A couple of weeks before he was to report, he badly injured his ankle in a judo course. He was supposed to be flying B-25s, and given the rate at which the B-25s were lost in combat, that broken ankle may have saved his life.
Wow.
Yeah. Both of my grandmothers, there's lots of talk in here today about women pilots, women aviators. Both my grandmothers were connected to aviators by marriage. That's from Richard Hill. From Chris Ferriello, we have my grandfather, Robert Hamill, was a staff sergeant in the U.S. Air Force during the Second World War, up through the Korean War, or up to it. And the birth of my mother clipped his wings. How did that happen? How did he clip his wings?
Oh, maybe because he gave up service so that he'd be around.
Well, and maybe they said now that you have a dependent, you can't.
Maybe.
Because it would have been in between. He was U.S. during the Second World War up to the Korean War.
Yeah.
Smart guy backing out of that one. Dorothy O'Hare, my grandfather, Truslow, became a U.S. Navy pilot. Virginia Fields, my husband, joined the Army at 18 years old, and it's specifically to fly helicopters. He succeeded. Wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Roger Strong, my great uncle. Okay, now this is where we get into the really cute thing that I was talking about.
Okay.
My great uncle Edward M. Kuhn was a navigator.
Navigator, yeah.
That's a new name, the new word.
I like that. Navigator. A navigator.
He was a navigator on B-29 that flew missions against Japan in World War II. And he's talking about how, well, he did. He was a barnstormer. And then Alexis answers and says, Roger, I will be leaving for Baltimore on Thursday to go to a B-29 reunion.
No way.
Yeah, it looks like we may only have 3 veterans this year. So these reunions will probably not go on much longer. The veterans that I will be with flew out of Guam. Only one of them was a pilot. Do you know where your great uncle Edward was stationed? And guess what?
No way. Guam?
Roger. Let's see. Roger, I'm at the reunion and they all remember your Uncle Ed.
No way.
No way. And Billy and their friends Owen and Beth Whitfield. How about that?
Aww.
How I've got chills. Talk about connecting
cool.
on WikiTree. Woo!
Wow.
My great uncle Alan Illingworth Meacham was a pilot for the First World War, and that there's a long story there if you want to read it. It's Janet Gunn.
Go, Janet.
In my own tree, no, but in my husband's tree, I'm a profile manager for Oh Boy Yes.
Oh Boy Yes.
And it is so sad. Douglas Haig Robertson was born the West Coast of New Zealand, 1930-31. He joined the RAF. Became a pilot, flew patrols. In November of 1939, they began training in Hudson's in preparation for performing strikes. And in 1938, he crashed. We're sorry, Sarah. Jan Pierce, my father, received his pilot's license in 1936. Thomas Thompson says, I have 3. That's pretty cool. Then there's another really long story from Timothy Morrissey, which I believe is a copy from his profile, actually.
Looking at the font, it looks like
Richard Dick Farrell Bear graduated from Madison West High School. Let's see. He was co-piloted and piloted many missions that departed in the middle of the night. Typically on each mission, crew spent about 20 hours cooped up. Can you imagine being cooped up for 20 hours on a B-17 flying Fortress? Can you imagine the noise?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And would they have worn protective hearing at those times?
Yeah, I don't think all of them did. Well, no, I don't know. They wore those weird things where they could touch it and talk. And
okay. Let's
see. Bob Bergman, my son, U.S. Air Force Academy. He flew C-130s overseas. Then Eunice Edwards, my uncle was RAF Bomber Command during the Second World War. There was nothing in my orange juice this morning, I promise.
Really honest, yeah.
Maybe a little coffee will fix that. He fought in the Battle of Britain. That's pretty cool. If you don't know about the history of that battle, it's pretty crazy. My dad, and this is from Randy Williamson, Burton R. Drum was an airline pilot of great experience and had flown everything from Stearman biplane to a Boeing 747. The picture is so small, and I tried to get it bigger, and I couldn't. Yeah. But it's a cool picture.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah. Susan Anderson in the chat said that she missed this question, so she didn't answer, but she put her answer here. So I just highlighted that.
Great. Susan Anderson. My father was a navigator on B-24s in World War II, and then a B-36 during Korea. I'm not familiar with a B-36. I should look that up. What's a B-36?
Oh, let's Google that.
Yeah, I'm turning into Sarah. That is a B-36.
Wow.
Wow. That's a big plane.
That is a big plane.
I just keep trying to get the picture. Thank you. Sorry, I do. Do you yell at Google? I do. That's a cool plane. Oh, let's see. On to the next page. Carl Moser, my father. Marion Cerruti, my father. Flew airplanes as a hobby. Nice. Roger Nielsen, my father, Blair E. Nielsen, was a B-24 Liberator pilot. Rob Graham, my father, Horace Graham Jr., was a dive bomber. Ouch. B-24 for Dick Bay, that was my father for him. My second cousin once removed, this is from Mike Jonas, Air Commodore Robert Carter Jonas. Are you related to are they Jonas?
The Jonas Brothers?
Yeah. Sorry. So cool. He had people in his family. Joan Moore, my grandmother, Edith Rubidge. See, people just put these names in here to trip me up.
Oh, yeah.
Edith Rubidge Cahoe took up flying at the age of 60.
Wow.
She and my father took lessons together getting their pilot's licenses just before World War II. Edith flew for the Civil Air Patrol during the war. After the war, my father became a commander of the Yonkers Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol. That is so cool.
Wow.
Randolph King, I have a great uncle who was a flight instructor. My grandfather had a plane that he flew a lot. Lamar Bliss, 3 of my 4 grandparents had pilot's licenses. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
My wife, this is from Shanna Leland. My wife is a commercial airline pilot, and only 5% of the pilots are women. The pilot that flew me back from Chicago last week was a woman. See, 2 of my uncles were pilots. That's from Peter Jennings. Probably no relation to the Peter Jennings who had a cottage up here.
Oh, yeah.
He used to do the ABC News.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Donna Cater. He was a medical doctor and a dreamer and of aeronautical research. That's pretty cool. That's Calkins 178. My grandfather had his pilot's license. That's from Barbara Mead. Let's see. Kim Wolf has a long story here, but she talks about her father being a pilot. C-47 supply plane during World War II. That's Diane Schulten. So he was a pilot. Robert Wilson's grandfather was in the RAC, the Royal Canadian Air Force.
Yeah.
My best friend that's from Janet Diamond. That's a wing walker to boot. She's got her pilot's license at 17, competed in aerobatics, won in the sportsman category 25 years to the day after her dad did.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool, but scary. Man.
Oh, let's see. First cousin once removed, flight crew. I'm trying to read all of these. There's like 4 or 5 or 7
I know.
80,000 pages.
Well, they're so good. Go right ahead.
We had a couple that were Amelia and Earhart connections.
No way. So, I was going to ask about that when you were talking about female.
Yeah, Corey Morehouse has Amelia Earhart, direct cousin, according to the WikiTree Finder. My son is a helicopter pilot in the RCAF. It's the Royal Canadian Air Force again. See, yes. It was not the Royal Canadian Air Force until recently. It was originally, and then they changed it back. All right, let's see. This is the cool one. Here we go. Wow. Okay. So Darlene Athey Hill.
Okay.
Hey, Darlene. My grandfather, Justin McInerney, was an early pilot in the United States. So early that his 1926 pilot's license was signed by Orville Wright.
Right. No way.
Yeah. Way.
That is too cool. That is too cool. That's amazing. Wow.
Really? I would frame that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Ooh, my father was a B-24 pilot that got shot down twice. He evaded once, but was taken prisoner. Ooh. Oh, wow. 7 months Patricia, that's crazy cool.
Yeah.
Crazy hard, crazy cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple of stories about that in some of these stories. Rod Broft has a lot of stuff in there too. Cousin, and then Pam Thompson has a few. Rosemary Flannery, my brother, who's been a Navy pilot and a FedEx pilot. His son, my nephew. That's pretty cool. Shan Dawson, my father's a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Did 2 tours. Gratefully made it home. Wow. Pat Quinn, during World War II, my dad was in the China, Burma, India theater during World War II. That's, you don't hear a lot of stories about that part of the war, the China, Burma.
No, that's true.
Let's see. Mel Kimsey. My father was a command pilot in the Air Force. Christine Crawford. Amelia Earhart, again, is a 6th cousin, 2 times and 3 times removed. She has 2 lines of descent. Christine, why aren't you a pilot then? Huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Huh? That's double time.
Oh, that's right. There is a bit of a lag between the chat because I'm now just getting this. Wow, Orville.
Yeah.
And Chris replies, insert the "we're not worthy" gif here. Oh.
Suzanne Tannenbaum. My daughter's a pilot. She was actually licensed to fly glider solo at age 14. That's crazy. Before she was able to get a pilot's license. That is crazy cool. Wow. I dated a guy in high school that's a commercial pilot. Does that count? Sure. A couple of cousins I have private pilot's licenses. Glenn Tooley. Okay. My dad, that's from Fairchild. I have a feeling that's not a real name.
Yeah, Fairchild.
Count me in as an aviator. Pete Jacobs, United States Marine Corps A6 intruder pilot and airline transport pilot in DC-9s, MD-80s, and B-2 727s. Wow. You wonder, have I ever flown on planes that like, I have a friend who worked in the airline industry, and I ran into her on one flight.
Oh, ever. Yeah. Ever. Wow.
Let's see. My father, Lincoln B. Smith, that's from Virginia Smith. My mother's brother, Jack Watson. Why not just say my uncle? That's from Pam Wilson. My father, John Baldwin, that's from Gerald Baldwin. Stephen Kearney has a good story here about his enlisted wings. That's pretty cool. Judith Robinson, Canadian Aviatrix Project.
Nice.
That my dad's cousin Molly Leach Brown was a pilot. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Oh, and this is really when we were talking about POWs. Yeah. I have a 6th cousin, John A.C. Campbell III. Now, was A.C. really his name? That's what I want to know. And son of John A.C. Campbell Jr., so I'm assuming it is true, who was a Spitfire pilot for the RAF in World War II. He joined the RAF before the U.S. entered the war. He transferred to the Far East, but wasn't there long before he got shot down and spent 3.5 years in a Japanese POW camp. Now, I always think of the bridge over the River Kwai as a good representation of what those camps were like, but unfortunately, it's actually polished up a bit. So they were not good.
Yeah.
The earliest known Corkum to move to the U.S., and she and her husband went to Utah. Huh. So that's a good picture. And he has a book written about him.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. The Flying Carpetbagger.
So that's the same guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Carpetbaggers weren't very good people in the U.S.
No.
So I'm not sure about that. We'll read that. You guys read that book and let me know what it says.
Yeah, that's right.
Jeffrey Rabel, my father. And I love this. John Suppet. Me. Yep, me.
Yep, me.
Yep, I'm a qualified glider pilot, a helicopter crewman. And all while I was an Air Force avionic technician. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get through all of these.
You go for it. You go for it. You go for it. I take up so much time off, and it's your turn. You're on holidays.
I'm not telling all the stories, but I'm acknowledging them. My uncle from Bob Williams, Bruce Henry, me. I'm started my pilot training in 1979. My brother-in-law, Susan Ellen Smith. Charles Lee Brown, 8th cousin once removed from Robert Ellinger. He was a famous World War II bomber pilot with an interesting story. It's worth reading on his profile, so he's got it there. Brown 109062. Melissa Howard, my grandfather taught himself to fly airplanes in the 1920s. Fun. Oh, he took her up for a flight, a solo flight. I bet that was the last time she went flying.
Oh man, yeah.
He started doing loop-de-loops and stuff. No.
Yeah, you know what that's like.
No, if you ever ask me to do a ride along in a plane, I ask you to keep the wings as smoothly level as you can. Let's see, Wendy Hardman. Do you know Wendy? Have you ever? Wendy Hindman. Sorry. As far as I know, only me. I didn't know that Ward Hindman. Sorry, Ward Hindman. I can't speak today. He flew thuds. Bob Freeman, my great aunt's first husband. Leland Eugene Estes. Let's see. David Whaley, my father. Donald Smith, my father-in-law. And Gooklik. Now, there's a town that I know of that's Iguklik up in the north.
Yes.
So Anne Gooklik, are you Canadian? My maternal grandfather was the first aviator in my family. Was my great aunt Wendy Wood. That's from Janet Gunn again.
Neat.
And wow, somebody's talking about 5 notable aviators, one of which even has a fitting moniker. Nancy Bird Walton. She was the first Australian woman to fly as a commercial air pilot. That's from Devin Harris.
That's neat.
Anne Morrow Lindbergh is my 4th cousin on my dad's side, but none of the others in my line have been pilots. Anne Morrow Lindbergh. So Anne, wait a second.
Yeah.
Anne Morrow Lindbergh.
The last one you wrote was, "But I'm afraid of heights."
Yeah. So Anne Morrow Lindbergh was an American writer and aviator. She was the wife of Charles Lindbergh. I didn't realize that she flew.
Wow.
Get back to where
what's
that? What was that? My dad took a few lying lessons. He learned how to lie in the 50s. Oh, that's Audrey.
Oh,
Ariette Lindsay, that's her dad, was a flyer. Okay. Janet Puckett. Yes, my father was a B-17 bomber pilot.
Wow.
Shelley Engel. Oh, yes, my father. Steve Davies. I was in the Royal Air Force.
Wow.
But I was ground staff. Yes, that counts.
Sure counts.
Sure, it counts. I bet you didn't stay on the ground the whole time.
Off the ground.
That's so true. I don't in my personal branches, but in a tiny village where I live, I gave birth to an ace. Heck.
That's neat that he found that.
Wait, I read that wrong. I don't in my personal branches, but the tiny village where I live gave birth.
Yes.
Not I gave birth. Leah, is she in here this morning?
Leah? I don't know.
She's probably going, Mags.
Yeah.
See, my wife's mother and uncle, that's from late Ray Sears, and I'm almost done. My father was a pilot, and my sister is a pilot, and that's from Judy Adden.
Wow.
Woo! And then she's got in her family tree Charles Lindbergh, Henry Harley Arnold, Albert Scott Crossfield, Gregory Hollenbeck Boyington, Jimmy Dooley, Amelia Earhart, George W. Bush, H.W., Howard Hughes, Lloyd Carlton Stearman, Walter Hirsch Beach, General Hap Arnold, to name a few.
Wow.
And that is our nearly 30 minutes of question of the week.
Wow.
Not really 30 minutes,
but very impressive.
It probably seemed a lot longer to you folk.
No, it was very interesting. Yeah. Very cool. So
Amy Johnson. Now somebody
what's that?
I just saw somebody mention Amy Johnson.
Okay. Well, you read a comment from Anne Gooklik, and Lisa recognized her from the Hangouts last weekend. And I think I've seen her. She's posted on Discord. She's done some chats there.
Who?
Anne Gooklik.
Oh, Gooklik. Yes. I like that name.
Yeah. Her paternal side is Ukrainian, so that's where it came from.
Oh, That's interesting.
And her mother's side is at least part French Canadian, yes, because she's participated in things there.
Boy, there's a lag on that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Neat.
Amy Johnson is a British aviator. Amy Johnson Crow is a famous librarian.
Right. Genealogist, yeah. That's right. So I've got a cousin who just got his pilot's license, and my brother is starting to take some lessons because he wants to become a pilot eventually. So
I don't think that I would want to be in control of people's lives.
No, me neither.
No, you wouldn't want me flying your plane, would you?
I don't know. Maybe.
Would you? I would be so busy joking about something. Oh, look, a bird just hit.
Oh, I know. I'd be bad too. Yeah. So that's right. Plus, being partial, well, not being hard of color, I'm disqualified, or at least that
hard
used to,
at color.
Hard of color, yes. Because I'm not totally colorblind. At least I don't claim to be colorblind, though I fail the test when it comes to the red, green.
You know, and it's so interesting.
I can't see the numbers all the time.
It's so interesting that I work on a project with Greg, and 3 of the other people in that project are also hard of color, which is interesting because color is an important thing as a part of that project.
I know. Well, that's why when I design apps myself, I choose the most garish set of colors, and then people like Tommy Book and help me out and say, pick different colors, maybe tone it down.
John Tyner's trying to make sure that we don't confuse her with Amy.
Yes,
Crow.
That was very good of you, John.
Yeah, and Amy Johnson Crow. Somebody brought a bottle of blueberry wine to a post-conference speakers gathering. And Amy Johnson Crow and I popped that bottle open, so excited because it was a blueberry wine.
Yeah.
One of the worst experiences of either of our lives. Just saying. Yeah.
When our family did a family trip to Newfoundland, I bought a bottle of wine that was from some berry, like some type of berry wine that was native to that, and I thought, oh, this will be good. Yeah. Some berries just don't make good wine.
Muscadines do, but they only grow in the South. But muscadine wine's really good.
Or maybe it's just an acquired taste that I had not acquired yet. So.
That too.
That could be. Anyways, we have profiles of the week.
We do.
And the theme this week is, which member of the Godfather franchise are you most closely connected to? So we have a bunch of them. And I sort of fell into, this is why Megs had to tap me on the shoulder to get me to come to the livecast on time, because I fell into a bit of a deep hole here. So the first one, and the reason for the category is because James Caan passed away just recently. And so this is his profile. He was born 26th of March, 1940 in Bronx, New York, and he just passed away the beginning of this month, the 6th of July, in Los Angeles at the age 82. And he was his parents were Jewish immigrants from Germany. His father was a meat dealer and a butcher. He was one of 3 siblings growing up in Queens, attended Michigan State University. Unable to make the football team, he transferred, but did not graduate. And then he studied for 5 years at the New York City's Neighborhood Playhouse School of Theater. American film actor, came to prominence for signature role of Sonny Corleone in The Godfather. Nominated for several awards, including 4 Golden Globes, an Emmy, and an Oscar. And he's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And then, so very nicely done profile here with some pictures and everything. So sad to lose you, James. Here's some pictures from The Godfather with Sonny, and there he is. So from the original Godfather movie. So there's Sonny here with the getting ready to get married, and then Al Pacino's next to him. The next person on the list is Marlon Brando, of course, who played Vito Corleone, the Godfather himself, the patriarch of the crime family. He was born in 1924. He's the son of Marlon Brando. Oh, his father was Marlon Brando and Dorothy Pennebaker, and he passed away in 2004. He was the youngest of 3 children, so that's the second person who had 3 kids in the family. His father was a pesticide and chemical feed manufacturer, and his mother was an actress herself and theater administrator, who helped out Henry James Fonda. So that's in connection to the Fonda family, so that's kind of neat. Unfortunately, his mother was an alcoholic, and his parents did separate, and then they all moved to California. Marlon, even as a boy, liked to mimic the mannerisms of his friends, so you could see the roots of his acting career there. In the 40s, he went to New York City, where his sisters already lived, and he started his career playing in the play A Streetcar Named Desire, which he later led to his role on the movie Streetcar Named Desire, where he played, of course, the main role of Stanley Kowalski, which is, that famous scene that, lots of people like to imitate, and in other movies you see people imitate, and sitcoms, when he cries out, is it Stella? Stella! Yeah. So did some other movies, Viva Zapata, On the Waterfront, but of course he was most famous for Vito Corleone. And there's a picture here. Wait a second. No, where is it here? So Marlon Brando.
How many tabs do you have open, Greg?
I've got a few.
A few?
A few. So Marlon Brando is, even though the characters were only one step away from each other, right? Like they were father and son, right? Vito and Sonny. In real life, the actors were 24 degrees from each other. So I just thought that was an interesting comparison there. And if it's been a while since I have seen the Godfather movies, but here is the actual, here's a family tree of the Godfather family, the fictitious Corleone family. There's the Godfather himself, Vito Corleone, who was played by Marlon Brando, and there's Sonny, who was James Caan, and then the rest of them. And then there's a similar one. Let me zoom in on that even more. Someone has done the same sort of thing, but taken snapshots from the movie, so you can sort of picture who people were. And you see the so just to help people out in the chat if it's been a while since they've watched The Godfather.
And do we really need to know all those connections?
You don't need to know any of those connections.
We're compounding the connections here. Let's have some make-believe connections. Do you know that there are people that actually, and I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm gonna.
Okay, go
people actually try and build those kind of trees on WikiTree.
On WikiTree? Mm-hmm. The fictitious ones?
Mm-hmm. The fictitious ones from movies and such.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's fun to see them mapped out like that. I mean, that to me, that's kind of cool. But you wouldn't want that. I don't want that mixed up in a real database. Like
no. So, yeah.
There should be.
It's odd. It's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can see, a parallel, I don't know what you'd call it. I'll have to come up with a different.
I am 15 from Robert Duvall.
Are you?
I assumed it would have been on my Duvall line, but it's not.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got Robert De Niro here right now. We'll get to Robert Duvall shortly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody was talking about him.
You just saw Robert. But Robert, so this should go quicker because a bunch of the profiles look like this because Robert is still alive, as far as we know. And his biography is Robert De Niro is an American actor and film producer. End of story. But then there is a link to his Wikipedia article, which we could click and then.
I'm 17 from De Niro.
Yeah. So there's lots of good stuff there. But because there's so many, and I've already spent so long, I'm just going to acknowledge him. And he played, let me just here, Robert De Niro played, I think he played the younger, do I have a picture of him? Yes. He played the younger Vito Corleone in the flashback in The Godfather.
Did he talk like this?
I probably did.
Did you talk like this?
Yes. Now, which Vito was the one who did the line, the famous one, I'll make him an offer he can't refuse? Was that the younger one? Was it Marlon Brando? I think it was Marlon Brando, wasn't it? Megs is shaking her head. Someone from the chat will know.
What was the question again?
So here's the quote. I make him offer, he don't refuse. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was the older ones.
Yeah.
But I bet the younger one made that comment too.
Yeah, they probably both said it at one point. They should put it in their contract. I want to make this. I want to say this.
Okay, so rewrite your whole website so you can answer Greg's trivia, please. Please, people. Where are you, IMDb?
That's right. Moving on to Robert Duvall, who may or may not be related to you, Megs.
Only one jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
15. Again, American actor and director. And he played Tom Hagen, who was the adopted son of Vito Corleone in the movie. And then Consigliere. So here's a picture of him in that role. So he was sort of the manager of things, kept everything running smoothly in the business. That was his role in the movie. But Robert Duvall has had a long and storied career, and he's done lots of good stuff as well.
I was 25 feet away from him. I was skiing on a place called Sugar Mountain in North Carolina, and they had snowblowers set up off to the side, and we could hear them. And so my dad and my friend and I skied over to see what they were doing, and they were filming the old Handmaid's Tale. And Robert Duvall and this woman were trudging through all of these snowblowers in the snow. They were filming it.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
That's fun.
That is neat. Al Pacino, born in the 40s, to Salvatore Alfio Pacino and Rose Girardi, has more than a one-line profile. Nice. A son of a stonemason. His parents separated, unfortunately.
Say hello to my little friend. Wasn't from that movie, though, was it?
No, I don't think so. He left home at 16, dropped out of the high school for the performing arts. He was branded a troublemaker. Hard to believe, wasn't that?
No.
He joined the Herbert Berghoff Studio, an acting school, where he studied for 4 years before successfully auditioning for the Actors Studio. And his performance as Michael Corleone in The Godfather earned him an Academy Award nomination. And of note, his maternal grandfather was born in Corleone, Sicily.
That's crazy.
That's kind of neat. Yeah. He won another Academy Award in the performance for Scent of a Woman. Never married, but has 3 children. And then, so nice there. Diane Hall played the.
You're 27 degrees from her through your mama, your bio mama.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so she played the wife of Michael Corleone, which was, I'm going to have to cheat because I forget. And it must be on here. No, it's not. Is it Kay? Kay Adams, I think. Anyways, award-winning actress known for roles as The Godfather and Annie Hall. And we can look for more information on the Wikipedia, but I will leave that for you folks. Mario Francis Putzo, born on October 15th, 1920 in Manhattan, and died the 2nd of July, 1999, at the age 78. And he's notable because he's the one who wrote the book and later the screenwriter for the movies of The Godfather, which was published initially in 1969. And then the movie came out in the 70s, 72, I think.
That's pretty fast turnaround back then for a movie.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Like the book, so the book itself must have done well for it to have got someone's notice that quickly and then turned into a screenplay. Because, I mean, from novel to screenplay, that's not that's
Yeah.
that's a task. That it's not just a quick, let's just put this person's name here, this person's name here. It's not just a matter of putting in the name of the actor who's going to, or the characters as they speak. It's a lot different than that. So yeah, very impressive. So, but apparently he's known for lots of novels about the mafia. So good stuff. And then Giovanni Rota, born in 1911, 3rd of December 1911 in Milano, in the Lombardia region, Italia. Passed away in Roma on the 10th of April 1979. And he was the one who composed the music for The Godfather. So he was the son of Ercole Rota, a teacher at the Istituto Tecnico Commerciale Nicola Moreschi del Milano, and Ernesto Rinaldi, who's also a pianist, piano player.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
Tara just posted that she just watched The Offer, which is about the making of The Godfather.
Oh, that you can't refuse.
Yeah, so now you have a new rabbit hole to go down this afternoon with your family.
Oh, that sounds cool. Thanks, Tara. He was known as Lo Chopin Italiano, the Italian Chopin. He was considered a child prodigy. He displayed an ability to harmonize and improvise on the piano by the age of 8, which is impressive. But even more is that by 11, he'd already written his first oratorio, which is sort of like a mini opera musical play, 3-act comedy in this case, based on a fairy tale from Hans Christian Andersen. The 3-act comedy came later at 13, but still. He attended the Conservatorio Santa Cecilia in Rome. Saint Cecilia, by the way, is the patron saint of music, so that's only appropriate that their Conservatory of Music is named after her. And his first film score was from the film Treno Popolare in 1933, but then of course he did others, and then led him on to working with Franco Zeffirelli, the Romeo and Juliet, and then Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather. Now, interestingly, he was disqualified from the Academy Award nomination for The Godfather because some of the music reused some of the themes that he had written previously. So they said it wasn't totally original music. So they booted him out of that, which was mean. But he did win the award for Best Original Score.
And how many of you guys are hearing da, 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 now?
Yeah.
From the music.
I
am.
Yeah. Anyways. I'm so glad someone put all this work into this person's profile, Giovanni's profile, because the music.
Are you choked up, Greg? Are you going to cry?
I'm clamped. This is important. A musician getting this much praise. That's very cool. Anyways, moving on though, Talia Shire.
Your closest connection at 21 degrees, by the way. Woohoo. And I have to say, okay, it goes to your mom. And then it goes over to the Arquette family.
Oh, as in Patricia Arquette?
Talk about a Hollywood dynasty.
Wow.
It goes Pierre Arquette. You go through about 7 or 8 Arquettes to Patricia Arquette, who was married to Nicholas Coppola. And his brother was the father, or the Patricia Arquette married one of Talia Coppola's siblings.
Neat. Okay. Well, that's very cool. Now, Coppola is actually one of the last names on my wife's family tree that I was working on during the Connect-a-thon. And now all the Coppolas in the tree in the Connect-a-thon all came from this little town in Calabria called Belsito. And I haven't made any connections to the larger tree from that family.
Yeah,
and I know that
you should now.
I know. Yeah. Well, I also know that Chris Variolo has a bunch of Coppolas in his family tree, and his town is not in Calabria. It's
was Francis Ford Coppola not one of the connections?
No, he wasn't.
That surprises me.
It is.
Okay, yes. Go ahead. You got two more to do in less than a minute.
Less than a minute? Okay.
I'm just kidding you.
Oh, well, anyways. So Talia she has a very short profile. But it's cool. She has the Buffalo Connection as well, and she played someone in the thing in Talia Shire played Connie. Oh, I know. Yes,
she was also, and Chris Ferriello is over here yelling, Adrian.
Yes, that's right.
From
she played the daughter of the Don. So the big famous wedding was her wedding, in the actress. And then Harry Dean Stanton, San Pietro Med. Thank you, Chris. I knew that.
Harry Dean Stanton is one of my closest through my mother. And yeah, there's 3 degrees of knockoff there.
Oh, neat.
He looks a lot like me. His hair.
I think you're better preserved, Mags. You're better. You look much nicer.
Yeah. Oh, let's see how more you can do this. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, that's right. You already put on Facebook put down that I had not intended to, an unintended.
Did I put a put down that you intended against
me? I did not intend. I said something and then you took it.
Oh yeah, you did. That's hilarious though.
Yes.
Greg and I were talking about a thing in his 6 Degrees app over the week. We talking about some stuff because we were working on another project together that's going to come out of this. And he said, well, do it this way. And I'm like, I don't see very much. And he says, well, maybe your tree just doesn't have enough depth. I was like,
imagine me saying that.
Oh, that's going on Facebook right now.
It did.
I didn't say who said it.
Oh no, you put my name there.
I put your name there as the person who did the 6 Degrees app. I never said. I said I slapped my thing and then I put Greg Clark 6 Degrees app after. So I never really actually said it was Greg.
Oh, I think by the comments people knew that's what you meant.
Oh really? I have to go look at it.
Oh well. Anyways, Harry, I think in the film, the reason he's here is because he played FBI agent number 2 or something like that.
FBI agent number 2. That would be my claim to fame.
I know,
Ranger
really?
on street number 8.
I'm not sure, but he does have a nice profile, unlike some of the others who just have a one-liner because they're still alive. Now, of course, he has passed away, unfortunately, but he lived to 91, so that's pretty cool. Born in Kentucky, passed away in Los Angeles. And then the last one is Eli Herschel Wallock, who died at 98. So he lived a nice long life born in 1915 in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and passed away in 2014 in Manhattan. So stayed around the New York area. And
he's quite recognizable as a character actor from all sorts of shows in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, that's right.
In the 80s.
Yeah. So very cool. So we have gone through, it's 10:53 already. I was going to, if I had lots of time or even a little bit of time, I was going to suggest that people, now that the Connect-a-thon was last weekend, and you have added all these profiles, that if you needed to go back and check if there's some extra work that you might want to do to some of those profiles and tidy up some of the stuff if you created them quicker.
You can't do that in 7 minutes, Greg?
Well, but then what about the photos? Are we just going to skip photos?
Open the photos. Let's see what the photos look like. Let's just look at the photos.
Okay. You want me to?
Let's take a gander at the photos.
Okay. Okay, let's see. If I go,
because people may be expecting the photos,
Okay, well, let's look at the photos. So so under the photos.
Scroll down, there you go.
Okay, so there's a new link here that says Photo Archive.
Really?
There is. That didn't used to be there. And that takes us to the Photo Archive where we can see a link to is it the 52 photos we want?
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
Well, scroll down and it'll say how to find. This is so funny. It's in the first
52 photos. There we go. Right? 52 weeks of photos. This is it, right?
4 days ago.
Yeah.
This is so funny. Go ahead, keep going, Greg.
Okay, there we go. There's some photos.
Look. There's people.
Alexis
and a baby.
Okay, and the theme, what was the theme this week?
I'm watching the lag here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the lag gets to
goose ganders
before it's time for the livecast to end to see whether people want to see the photos or not.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, there we go. This is Elizabeth wearing a dress.
Isn't that a pretty?
Yeah.
Zoom Schwartz Graffigliano, man.
What's that?
Nothing.
Who were you reading? Zoom Schwartz.
Oh, John Tyner says yes. Look at those photos for Sarah's benefit.
Okay, there we go.
Notice we didn't even tell them that Sarah is out on an alligator wrestling sortie this weekend. Wow. She's alligator wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Nice family tree there. That's kind of neat how you've identified all the people.
Yeah, and obviously somebody did that after the fact too.
Yeah. That's very helpful.
Isn't that a pretty picture?
That is neat. Yeah. Oh yes.
You remember those sofas?
Yeah. We never had one quite this.
No, right. We never did, but other people that I knew.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, but that face, that kid, that look on that kid's face. Oh, I recognize that kind of look. Trevor. Oh, this is neat. Wow.
What did they do
and then
that?
It's the same photo with the identification.
Oh, they've got numbers on the. Oh, I like it when they do that.
I love it. That's very cool.
I have some Dillard photos that are like that.
Yeah, that is neat.
June says that wasn't actually the sofa material, that was just a throw on the sofa. I disagree with that. That was a real sofa.
I don't know.
I don't think that's a throw.
I think that's the real sofa.
I remember those sofas.
I don't know. Maybe does that look like the on the edge there?
She may have it. Who knows?
Wow. That's a large throw. Large throw to go flow. Anyways, 3 generations, maybe. From John and
that it?
That's it from there.
Okay.
So generations, that was the theme. That's why we saw lots of all this. Yeah. So
now Greg is going to talk to us about.
Yeah. So if you want to, clean up your profiles that you added, one way to do that is to go under suggestions. Mm-hmm. And when you click on that,
and that's from my WikiTree drop down.
From the My WikiTree drop down, and it gives you lists of suggestions for any of the profiles that you manage. Okay, so it gives you the error and the actual link to the profile where there's an issue, which you can click on, and it gives you the table. Each row of the table gives you details pertinent to that particular issue. There's lots of different things. Of course, we don't have time to go into the details.
You have 3,304 suggestions, Greg.
That is nasty. So obviously, I have not done this in a long time. Oh, a forbidden link? Antonati is a
forbidden link?
Okay, I'm gonna have to investigate that.
List now?
I don't know.
Mine are up. I need to go through mine.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done this, and obviously there's a bunch. So some of these are probably from the recent Connectathon, and there'll be more because these the suggestions get generated once a week, correct, Megs?
Yes.
Yes. So I know that Alesh
Monday I think
would have run the report last weekend, but before the Connectathon was done. So the report that he runs this weekend will cover all of the profiles that we created during the Connectathon. So if you check on, I believe, Tuesday morning for your suggestions, you'll have the full list of things that you can look at. But you can, once you go to your, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go my own profile. I want to go to myself. So let me just cheat and just type in Clark. But if you're on your own profile, you can also there's a suggestions list down there if you don't go off the page. And that gives you, or if you're on anyone's profile, in fact, if you click on the suggestions list from the person's name, that gives you suggestions of the people related to that profile, and it goes up through the generations.
I have one suggestion on that.
What's that?
Just one.
Okay. Oh, you only have one suggestion. Oh, how about you had a suggestion for me?
No. Oh, no. Oh, I have lots of suggestions for you.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, one of those, you'll see on mine, there's suggestions for profile completeness. You don't all get that. And if you really want that, then you have to actually put an extra line in your profile at the top. There, this line here for category. And that will give you an extra level of suggestions. If you don't have enough work to do already, this gives you an extra level of suggestions to verify that your profiles are fully complete. But the one last place that I'd suggest, and this might actually be the first place you go, because is an app that was created by K Knight, who's in our chat right now. She hasn't left. And she's created an excellent app called the Biocheck. And she's just updated it this last week. And she's created a video on YouTube, which goes through all the details of it, and does a much better job than I could do. But basically, there's lots of different ways you can check profiles. And if you just click initially, if you just click on the button when you first arrive there, you get the defaults that she's programmed in. And we'll check profiles related to me. In this case, it was just 5 generations of ancestors, 2 generations of descendants. And it's just doing the default check for unsourced and style issues, I believe is the default there. And so you'll see my own profile apparently has an issue with it. It has a misplaced lines issue. So isn't that embarrassing? And if I go to that, what is the issue? Oh, misplaced lines is is a common one, and it's an easy one to fix. And I can't believe, it's because this is, with the very first profile I ever created. Where are we here? Misplaced lines looks for the sources and the references tag that should go right underneath it. And I did not put a references tag.
Oh my word. That is like something that people do constantly though.
It's a very, very common mistake, and it's easy to make, especially when you're first starting out, because I don't know. I didn't think of putting that there. But anyways, if I add that now.
Kay says that all our active profiles by default are created without references tags.
So that's why it's so common.
So it's a glitch in the system. It wasn't you, Greg.
It's not me. Well, but you know what? I've created enough profiles. I should have thought to go back and do that. But without Kay's, I should have put tag, not references. References to, oh well.
My first. Do you know what my big mistake was on mine? My big suggestion.
What's that?
Is that I have an invalid mitochondrial DNA haplogroup.
Oh, that is funny.
And it is absolutely correct. Oh. So my guess is they don't have enough field spaces for mine haplogroup to show up. So get that fixed, Alish.
Yes.
Jamie.
Anyways, there are lots of things you can do, and Kay's app is wonderful. So there's different reports you can generate. I usually start with the unsourced and style issues to fix those. But you can do a report on all the profiles, and then what's neat is you can see the dates lined up and everything. Different starting results. You can even tie it into WikiTree search results. Like, there's lots of complexity built into this. But
and look at Greg Clark going on about K Knight's stuff.
She's done wonderful stuff. You know what?
Kay is sitting in our. I hope you're blushing, Kay.
Well, I hope she's not cursing me for ruining the thing. But I suggest you go check this out. Check out her video, her YouTube video on how to use it, because that goes to a lot more details than I can. And I applaud Kay for the wonderful work she does, because she's an amazing programmer, and this is pretty
you've got Doherty's
stuff. What's that?
You have Doherty's?
That is my son-in-law. My daughter married a Doherty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we got Doherty's all up in the place.
I see. Well, I haven't investigated and attached his family yet to WikiTree, but at some point.
Yeah. So Greg just showed us all sorts of really cool stuff, which is fun. About sometimes on the live cast we get bonus stuff.
Oh, I've got my 6 Degrees app. I'm almost ready for an ready for an update shortly.
Do you have enough depth in your tree, Greg?
I do have a 7
Degrees. Good opportunity to promote the 6 Degrees app.
What's that? Yeah. Next week.
Your offhanded insult.
Oh, you're bad. Offhanded insult.
That wasn't an offhanded insult. That was a horrible insult.
Yeah. So shortly, I will upgrade. I will post an update, which will get you to 7 degrees. I'm still going to call it the 6 Degrees app because I'm used to calling it that. But it can do a 7th degree chart now and has a few other things.
And some other things. Yes.
Got some other things.
That's why Greg and I were talking, because we were talking about those other things. Okay. It's time to go. It's like
I think it is.
We're like 40 minutes over because of Greg.
Do we have anyone left still watching us?
Yes, we do. There are 31 people still.
Wow.
So.
I can't believe it.
You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next weekend.
See you next weekend. Ciao.